TV show Dallas. That's how it got to. That's all I know about Dallas from Czech TV.
Yes, I'm glad we got that on the recording. We were talking about Texas, of course. All right. There's not too much in here today in the agenda doc. A few announcements. First one here is that there is a new thing called the Create Knowledge Sharing Sessions that are kicking off this Friday, which is tomorrow, except for Chissen, which is today. Paul Slaughter, the other one, will run the first session tomorrow at 3 p.m. UTC, and he will be diving into non-machine learning AI algorithms. I put a bunch of links in here, the Slack announcement, the Zoom link. It's also on the Create Stage calendar, which I discovered existed. So also, if you didn't know it exists, there it is. So feel free to attend. Sounds pretty exciting. I think I might join this. It's a good time for me. Second announcement here, we now have a team onboarding issue template. Thank you, Amy and Kai, for the reviews and moving this forward, because I was kind of lazy on this one, to be honest. I left it sitting around for too long. But it's merged now, so we have it. Also, it describes how to link your PTO to the team calendar. I put that in bold there, so please do this if you haven't already. It's very helpful so that we can see who is out when automatically. The next thing, Kai, do you want to give a shout out?
Yeah, I was just going to highlight the thing that is yours. So I'm not taking credit for this, but this is Francois did an awesome deep dive into like the metrics for the group. So we do have like MAL metrics instrumented on API calls that all these things make back to the monolith. That's how we track this. Is so they have to talk to the monolith. But there's just some really, really good growth and really good insights here. So that's a testament to all the work we're doing and sort of how rapidly we're able to get people onto these new extensions that have never existed before, which is always, as Thomas will know from 2.5, 3 years ago, was the biggest challenge with VS Code, is like finding users. So like having a nice driving feature to do that has been, it's cool to see how we can move the needle here.
Nice. Sweet. Yeah, the only thing that bothers me about this is that we have to wait a full month to see the numbers. Like I wish I wanted to just see them daily or monthly. I don't know, but like it's just me.
They're instrumented weekly, so we can do weekly charts. So you could get like week charts, but it's still dependent on, I don't know. I don't want to get into the nuance. Service ping is crazy, and so it's like still depends on when an instance, a self-managed instance, actually decides to send us service ping, which happens at some random interval for every single one. And then arbitrary date ranges are calculated, and it's very confusing. So you could use the weekly ones.
Sounds like we'll stick with monthly. Right. That sounds fine. Cool. Awesome. Any discussion items? Anything we should be discussing? Amy, yes.
I can either talk or type. This is just a point for discussion later. If it turns out, as I'm looking at you, Tomas, that it's a pain to have to merge all of the stuff that I do for docs, because I know I can be a little bit of a fire hose at times, let me know, and I'll see about getting a second tech writer added as a maintainer so that I can pass docs only changes to them and spare you.
Thanks, Amy. No, I don't want to be spared of the docs reviewing. Like especially when I write them, I want to see your improvements, because they are usually fantastic, and I learn a lot with everyone. Secondly, some of the technical details, like with moving a step here or there might break the how-to, even though you are usually doing a great job, but like keeping it work still. But yeah, please ping me on these, especially for documentation that I introduced or touched recently.
Okay, sounds
I like
good.
it.
Thanks.
I just was gonna add, if it does become too much, you can I think that is one of the few projects I don't actually have maintainer rights to. I think I had it at one point and then it got taken away when we moved it, and I don't necessarily need it back, but if we do need to merge, then I'm happy to help take care of the doc ones too.
Thank you.
Not break anything else, maybe.
I won't even go that far.
Like the recent docs update, you could have self-merged it, Kai, if you had the rights.
So it would have been fine. Maybe I rewrote the changelog.
Francois, looks like you got the next one.
Yes, I just wanted to ask if there is any follow-up discussion from the chat meeting today. I hopped off a bit early. Is there anything we want to discuss as a team as part of that, or no?
I would like to know whether we want to dedicate ourselves to like investigating the chat hazard, whether, because I didn't hear the definite yes, like we need your help here. We will switch to the language server. And because we are doing some investigation right now, like there are some problems to solve. So the question is whether I need to work on it. And...
Yeah, that's my question as well. Because kind of what I raised in that meeting was like, okay, if you, Lena, for example, work on this, then you're not work on chat, basically. You're not working on the code suggestions anymore, which is technically what we should be focusing on. But of course, it's like, it's happy to collaborate and enable other teams. But for me, if we were to try to make this work, I would try to do the smallest version possible, which doesn't do streaming at all. If that's not even supported right now in the current chat version, let's just, do it without the streaming. That sounds like one of the most difficult part of it, or most that needs the most work. So if we could skip it would be great.
That won't give us a user experience that they are aiming for, I guess. Yeah, we'll try to figure out the streaming thing. And once it's figured out, it would be easier from there.
Yeah, and I think from my side, it's a yes. Like we should work on it just because it moves, increases the value of the language server and moves it forward in a direction that we need to go anyways, right? Like this is super important that we do this. So we do need to have some skin in the game, but I've also asked David to make sure they have some skin in the game too. So transparently, there is a DM to Francois and David that says, yes, we should do this. I'm guessing Francois hasn't seen it yet. But David and I went back and forth a bit and think it makes sense. So we just need to align that with
I've not seen it yet, no.
David, the issues that David said he would create after the meeting, we'll align it and figure out how that works. But I think it makes sense, okay, Lena, for you to keep working on it. Given where things are with the language server and the work that Thomas and Tristan are doing, I think on sort of the code suggestion side, I think that does give you some capacity as like the expert on the language server to help guide them in how to do this. Yeah, expert might be more than you want for this, but that's what sorry, you've we're adding it to your team profile and you'll forever be stuck.
Okay.
Yeah, those are very sticky. Tend to be very sticky, these labels. I'm currently a telemetry expert, for example, and I'm like, no, I want to stop doing that. Actually, I don't want to stop doing that. I really enjoy it. I'm gonna stop anyway. That's the next point, actually. Oh no, maybe Thomas, you had another point before that on the.
Yeah. There are still some things that I haven't had a chance to look at. Today, I worked on automated releases of the language server, which is quite important, especially as more people start contributing code. We can't ask everyone to, at the end of their merge request, to like change the version and change look and everything to release it. This needs to happen automatically. I've done that today, but there is like linting. Every time we don't have a strict linting on TypeScript, and we let someone write a code in the project, we are introducing depth that we will be fixing later on when we want to introduce a strict linting and the contributed code doesn't match it. That's really important if we let anyone else, then let's say us 3 maintainers now contribute code, and like having good examples of automated tests that are not just riddled with like mocking and complexity would be also great for new contributors if we want them to write correct tests. So I think that there is some housekeeping that needs to happen before we tell another team, go wild and introduce your features to the project.
Fair point. Yeah, that makes sense to me. And good that it sounds like you've already made some progress on one of those aspects. So that's nice. Cool. The next point, yeah, Thomas, you wanted to ask about the plan for telemetry handover to John. Yeah. So so brief context here. I so far have been the main person kind of driving telemetry, at least from a higher level perspective. Obviously, I'm not implementing anything, but sort of making sure that it's actually working, what it actually looks like, and all of that stuff. So that's been really fun because I enjoyed this, but also I fear now that I don't have that much time to do it, and it's pretty critical stuff. So I probably shouldn't be doing this. So instead, I'm asking John to take over as DRI for that entire topic. And basically, what we have, I prepared this doc, which John and I have a call right after this actually to go through. We'll record it as well. So it's kind of like going to be a mix of brain dump and sort of Q&A, maybe, I guess. Sort of basically trying to make it like a handover, like make it so that after that, John is positioned to actually effectively work on this thing. And as part of that, I would also expect that, John, you will end up working with a lot of the different extensions, the different people working on the extensions to figure out all this stuff. Yeah.
There's probably a little onboarding that I'd love to do with, Tomas and Lena. Just a chat about, hey, what's the current implementation? I've looked at the code base enough to where I think I have a good grasp, but I'd like to get the people who are actually working in it, hey, here's what I've had to do, or these are some gotchas why we had to do it this way. So I'm sure I'll be setting up meetings if that's good with everybody.
Yeah, that makes sense. And anyone is welcome to join that call. The next one after this, by the way, if you're interested and you want to, just let me know. I can add you to the invite, or you can look at my calendar and click the link there because it's just public anyway. Yeah.
Is it, just to clarify scope, is what John is taking on is sort of the is telemetry working correctly? And can we report on it properly, assuming Carolyn can model it and we can build charts? Mm-hmm. It's not that he's taking on did VS Code call, suggested, requested or suggested and rejected, the individual implementation of the events in each IDE. It's we assume that the extension people are responsible for that the events are implemented in the right spot. John's responsible for I'm getting the data and it all matches and it's correct and I trust it.
Yeah, I don't expect John to suddenly contribute to all 4 extensions in parallel and fix the telemetry everywhere, if that's what you are asking. I don't think that's reasonable. But I would expect, however, for example, he might discover, oh shit, actually on JetBrains right now, this thing is totally off, this part of it, and we need to figure out why, and then work with Ali or be like, hey, Ali, can you look into that, basically. So it's sort of what I've been doing, except what John can do that I can't is actually do some of the work, for example, in Visual Studio or the language server, where I was just kind of clueless. And also he'd have, I think, longer spans of focus on this thing, where for me it's been really spotty, and so kind of difficult to keep longer threads going.
I'm also fine if John decides he does want to contribute to all 4
Yeah, by the way, that's also fine. I mean, I want to start with reasonable expectations.
If I see some quick wins, I'll definitely open up MRs.
Oh yeah, even I did this, by the way, and this is one I bragged about the AI gateway. I fixed telemetry on the AI gateway, and thank you very much. So this is possible. It is doable. Yeah.
We'll test John's polyglot skills. See how good they really are. Have a battle later between John and Thomas once John's ramped everywhere, and see who's got the most languages under their belt.
Yeah, can we generate some more of these, like what was it, this robot thing made of all the editors, something like that, for each of us.
Yeah, did we have a name for him?
Yeah, we did. What was it? Was it the Power Rangers? I don't know. We didn't really, I think we didn't align. There were some suggestions.
We need to schedule
Yeah.
another meeting to talk about what we're going to call our.
All right. Yeah. Any other topics? Nope.